How do you take a Cricut Joy, sheets of vinyl, and a blank water bottle and turn it into something spectacular and personalized? Magically turning it around doesn't work, but you can do it. I'm going to walk you through how I created this design with my Cricut Joy and these sheets of 12 by 12 vinyl. And while this is a more complicated layered design, the techniques of how you use your Cricut Joy, how you layer vinyl, applies whether you're doing a 1-layer design, 6, or even more layers. My name is Ruth. This is Hank's Maker Mentor. I'm here to help you learn how to make, so let's get started. I'm going to walk you through what to do after you have your design ready and sized to fit your blank. As a reminder, the Cricut Joy has a max cutting width of 4.5 inches. The length will depend on the mat and the material that you're using. Anything larger, you'll need to piece your design together. When you're ready, go ahead and click Make It. You'll need to select how you're going to load your materials. This project is on mat. You also see without mat, on card mat, and multiple ways. I use the mat preview to determine what size to cut each sheet of vinyl. This helps minimize waste. I made sure to figure out the order the colors should be in before trimming any of them. After they're all trimmed to size, I place them on the mats. To speed up the process, I put one on each end of the mat and insert them in the opposite direction for the second cut. This is just me trying to get this done in a hurry. As a beginner, I would not have dreamed of doing so many layers or so many colors, especially similar colors where it's harder to tell in Design Space which one you should be loading at which time. To keep things simple, either as a beginner or just to reduce the likelihood of making a mistake, do one color on one mat, take it off, and then put the next one on. After clicking Continue on the mat preview, you'll need to make sure your machine is plugged in. The Cricut Joy doesn't have any buttons, and it will need to be plugged in so Design Space can find your machine. Selecting the proper material setting makes a huge difference in how well your project weaves. The silver and all of the pink vinyls in this project are from the StarCraft Magic Adhesive Vinyl line. Adhesive vinyl is what you want to use on things like tumblers and mugs. It has a sticky, pressure-sensitive adhesive on the back. I purchased these from 143 Vinyl, and they have this amazing reference sheet to help you figure out where to start with the cut settings. These aren't guaranteed since every mat, machine, vinyl, and blade combination are going to be different, but it helps tremendously to have somewhere to start from. Under Adhesive Vinyl, I find StarCraft Magic, and the Cricut setting is Glitter Vinyl More Pressure. Back in Design Space, I click on Browse All Materials. Glitter vinyl wasn't showing up as an option with the Cricut Joy, so I chose one that was comparable, the Premium Vinyl Holographic, since these are all holographic vinyls. I recommend doing test cuts to avoid wasting material. I forgot to put in a specific test cut, so I chose the most basic cut to do first. I'm going to leave it on the default pressure and select Remember Material Settings. Otherwise, it'll ask me on each mat what my material settings are. It lets me know to load my fine point blade and then load the mat into the machine. The Joy has a sensor to know when to load the mat, so you want to make sure you're putting it in level underneath these rollers. It'll pull it in automatically and then pull it through to make sure it's aligned correctly. Then you'll be able to click Go here in Design Space. It'll complete the first cut and then unload the mat most of the way. Before you click Unload in Design Space, I recommend making sure that it cut properly. If it didn't cut through deep enough, you can click Rerun and it'll cut in the exact same place. If you unload the mat and then reload it and cut it again, it probably won't be exact. Yeah. This cut great, so I'm going to click Unload and then I'm going to cut all the other holographic layers. Those will be cut off camera. The black vinyl for the legs of the Flamingo is StarCraft HD in matte. The holographic setting will be too much, so I need to change it. To do that, I click on the bold text here that says Premium Vinyl Holographic. I've already favorited Premium Vinyl, which is the setting that works for the StarCraft HD for me. So I'm going to click on that and have it cut as well. After everything's cut, you'll need to weed away the extra vinyl, which just means to remove the parts of the vinyl that are not part of your design. If your design is difficult to weed, you want to look at whether your cut settings were correct and if you had a high quality file to cut from. If the file was not very high quality, you're more likely to run into issues weeding. Now we've got it all weeded, we're ready to apply the design. I'm placing my tumbler on a 143 vinyl squeegee since it has ridges that help hold it in place while I'm working on it. I keep a small squirt bottle of rubbing alcohol and these lint-free shop towels in my craft room to make sure I can clean this before applying the vinyl. Any oils, dirt, things like that will make it harder for the vinyl to apply securely. I'm using the clear medium tack transfer tape. Since transfer tape can be reused until it's no longer sticky, I only need a piece big enough to transfer my largest piece of vinyl. I like to unroll my transfer tape and place it sticky side up on my table. Then I put the design face down onto the transfer tape, rub it down with another squeegee, and cut around the vinyl backing. I flip it over to rub on the top as well. You'll hear people say that they're burnishing the vinyl. I'm going to use the parchment paper method to line up the decal. You'll need a piece of parchment paper that's just bigger than your transfer tape. You'll place the vinyl on the parchment paper so only a tiny amount of vinyl is uncovered. The parchment paper keeps the rest of the design from sticking, but you can still see through the parchment paper to see where it's going to be applied. Once you have it positioned where you want it, you'll burnish the exposed vinyl to your tumbler. Then lift the design like a hinge to remove the parchment paper, slowly rolling the rest of the design down and burnishing it as you go. You don't want to do this as just a flat press because you'll end up with wrinkles in your vinyl. After you burnish the whole thing, you'll slowly remove the transfer tape. If you're doing a one-layer design, congratulations! You just completed your project. If you're doing multiple layers, just keep following the same process until all your layers are applied. Once I've applied my last layer, I like to take a piece of the backing, ideally one big enough to cover the whole project, and place it over the design to burnish the whole thing one last time. I hope it was helpful to see how to use vinyl to customize a tumbler using your Cricut Joy. If you want to see how to use your Cricut Joy to cut infusible ink, go ahead and click on this video right here. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and clicking the bell icon so you're notified when I release new videos every week with occasional bonus videos. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.